Hello, everyone, and welcome back to another episode of Hyrule Chronicles, episode 100. It's the Legend of Zelda D&D campaign, possibly one of the longest running on the internet at the moment. Though there are probably others that have. I'm very not terribly well read when it comes to the internet, so I can't make that a certain thing. But anyway, it's 100. It's cool. It's awesome. It's amazing that we got this far, and I'm really stoked that we got this far.
You're telling me you haven't read all of the internet?
I haven't read all of the internet. No, it's yeah.
You better get reading. It's like plenty to catch up on.
I guess so. I've got a couple weeks off coming up. It's fine.
I also believe that statistically speaking, 80% of online actual plays actually end before episode 20.
Yep.
Oh wow.
Oh, wow. That's 80% of podcasts specifically.
Okay. Interesting. But yeah.
And since most actual plays are podcasts, yeah.
I guess so. But yes, as always, joining me as they have for quite a while now, I have Renji Vox being played by the Netherlad.
Such an honor.
I have Hikan Sio being played by Avrdal.
Hey, it's International Talk Like a Pirate Day and we get to sail a ship through the stars.
Yeah.
Yar.
Yar. I have Zayden Shari being played by Robopirate.
Hello.
And I have Max being played by Keistrith.
Hello.
So, what happened last time, folks?
Well then. Last time on Hyrule Chronicles. With the civil war heating up in Hyrule, our friends of the Storm's Eye find themselves in quite the pickle. Stuck on the Plain of Lament, a hair-raising locale where the dead roam the land and the living are plagued with nightmares, our friends go looking for the one thing that they need to get out. An arcane battery, one that can power the ship they had previously discovered. As they set out to find this battery, they come upon the fortress of Nazgrada, fiendish lich that rules the powers of evil. Overhearing Nazgrada speaking to his lieutenant, the Arbiter, about the state of Hyrule, the Storm's Eye prepares themselves for combat, but the lich seems uninterested in confronting them. Recovering from the deep blow to their egos, the party explore the evil fortress, slaying undead and uncovering long-forgotten magical artifacts, even vanquishing a death knight that guards these unholy catacombs. After the dust settles on that particular skirmish, the Storm's Eye recovers their prize, the Arcane Battery! And with that, they return to the stellar ship, hopeful that they can finally leave the Plain of Lament and reunite with their friends in Hyrule. Back to you, Articulate.
I was wondering if that was what you were going for, because the peaking on your microphone made it sound like it was coming through a phonograph.
Amazing.
I love you for it. It's great. Okay.
Oh,
right.
You're welcome.
Oh, dear. So, we return to the darkened realm that is the Plain of Lament. A depressing and near lifeless location. As you have mentioned, you have only just recently ventured into the fortress of one Nazgradar, where he seemed to be keeping the bodies of the few who had arrived into the Plain of Lament while they were still alive. As you depart, and no doubt make your way back to the ship, I believe you have made the decision last session to not alert the folks in Masro until you got back to the Spelljammer, correct?
I think we were going to do it on the way.
Okay.
Yeah.
Alright.
Like halfway there.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. I thought we were trying to make sure that the ship worked and then send the signal so we could pick them up quickly.
I don't remember.
That's alright. It has been a while.
It certainly has.
But You, as you're making your way back, marching on into the darkness as you did once before, I think, did you leave a light on at the ship?
Probably.
The only lightouts. Do we have anything to leave a light with? Because I
Did
know
have
we have
torches.
torches.
Okay,
Yeah.
that's all right. Because we're taking some time in order to do the standard fly way up high, see if you can find a speck of light on the distance tactic that you had before when navigating this realm. You don't need to make any survival rolls in order to make your way back to the ship. It's a weird sensation, as it always has been when traveling overland in the Plain of Lament. You're not exactly sure how much time has passed, and whether or not in this case the journey to the ship itself is the same amount of time that it has been on the way to it. You have... but as you get to a spot where the fortress disappears behind you and you can't really see anything in any direction besides maybe the tiny speck of light coming from the Spelljammer, you get to a point where you believe that you might be at a safe location. To send off this flare, which I'm guessing is like either a firebolt or some other kind of basic spell just to send a light into the sky.
Hang on. There you go.
Yeah.
I shoot the
There
sky.
we go.
You shoot the sky. That'll show you sky.
I'm attacking the
Deserted.
darkness.
But yeah. And with that signal sent off, you continue your way towards the Spelljammer.
I think when we're there, we should send another one so that they can triangulate.
Yeah.
That's not so much triangulation.
Yeah. After what feels like a few more hours, you manage to arrive back. However, you find yourself in a situation where the journey to the fortress and back again, as well as the experience at the fortress, even though it was fairly fleeting, you find yourself drained of quite a lot of energy. Not necessarily that you will desperately need to take a long rest now. It just means that if you were to spend too much more time here and have to do much more travel, you will risk being exhausted. It also depends exactly how long it takes the people of Mazro to maneuver to the Spelljammer itself.
Right. And we need to also figure out if the Spelljammer even works with the battery.
Yeah. So, as you return to the Spelljammer, you can see the half of the vessel just kind of still there, still stuck in the still stuck on the darkened ground. It doesn't seem that there has been much of a gathering of scarabs still. Thankfully, it seems that there are not many of these swarming insects about, and those that you do manage to see and those that kind of stop at the edge of your light source, they are easily dispatched if needs be. And as
A quick disinfestation.
Yeah. As you manage to get inside, any that have crawled inside ultimately flee in turn. Yeah. So, you are now back at the Spelljammer. You effectively have to wait for the living members of Mazro to make their return. They will, from what you understand, they will be escorted by by Eitri and his forces, as well as accompanied by Donatash and perhaps Simeon. Yeah,
getting the spirit of Simeon back into the material plane might be a good idea, but I'm not certain how that works.
We don't know if we can.
That's also a thing.
Max is going straight down to where the battery goes to try and figure out like A, how to plug it in, and B, how to charge it.
Okay, give me an Arcana roll.
Don't scare me this time, game. 15.
15. Okay. So you situate yourself down there and you have the battery with you. You can see where it easily slots into the machine, but you might need a little bit of assistance in figuring out the express details of the actual machine itself, mostly because even though you've fixed a lot of it, it's still an entirely foreign piece of technology to you. So
I wouldn't mind helping.
Okay. So it's not necessarily that you will never figure it out. It's just like you'll have to spend a bit of time, like as a group,
That's
kind
fine.
of figuring things out.
Do I know how to charge the orb?
You do. You are capable. Essentially, what you need to do is you would spend an action in order to feed one spell slot into it, and it will charge it based on the level of the spell slot in turn.
Okay.
The only issue that you find is that a lot of the initial mechanisms don't seem terribly sturdy. In fact, after a little bit of time with testing it with cantrips, that you managed to figure that out at the very least, it has trouble retaining a charge. So essentially, you would probably have to start feeding it more or less when you are about to take off.
Okay.
If we are discussing that, I would be happy to test out giving one or maybe both of my 3rd level spell slots.
Okay.
But then I do want to take a short rest to get them back.
That's fine.
That's fine.
Like, as you do that, it confirms that essentially you charge with your spell slots, you charge it to 6% of its power, and then after about 10 minutes, the power disapparates. Just like it's like when you've got a phone that's really old and can't retain a charge for more than 10 minutes after being plugged in all night. That's the kind of
10 minutes.
Yeah.
Oh dear.
It definitely could do with a bit of a touch up and some parts being replaced.
Yeah, we need a quick trip to Uriel.
I'm casting a bunch of mending on it.
Yeah.
If I can.
Yeah, but it's one of those things where it might be that transform mending it back with the pieces physically broken. It might be that it could do with an entirely new overhaul, both in terms of physical parts as well as magical enchantments that are already
It's
a part
mostly
of it.
so that it doesn't explode.
Yeah.
In my hands.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's always a concern.
Would the mending help to at least bump up from 1% per spell slot level to 2?
Give me an Arcana check again.
I'll roll it.
I have an Arcana plus 6.
Okay. Well, fuck. I already rolled.
That's an 8!
So I got 15.
That's fine. So 15 and 8. It'll take you a couple of hours, but you are at the very least able to after a while of fidgeting and using some, maybe if you have component pouches or just bits and pieces that you have in your bag of holding from way back when, you're able to kind of shore up and MacGyver a bunch of all these different parts onto the machine, and it will now do 2% per spell slot level.
Okay.
Yeah. Also, with it being several hours, can I take a short rest?
Yeah.
Can we take a short rest?
Yeah. It's absolutely
It's
fine.
gonna be several hours. We could take a long rest.
That is true, but
Yeah.
also
This is the
dreams are
party of us that we're
scary.
talking about.
Yeah, you're able to take a long rest if you would need to. Essentially, because the way that the timey-wimey bullshit exists in the plane of lament, the only risk being that if you take a long rest, the possibility that the people of Mazro arrive while you are taking your long rest and then have to wait around for a little bit of time exposed around this ship. But yeah.
Which is why Max is just taking a short rest and focusing on making sure the ship is...
Ship shape.
I was going to say seaworthy, but...
Yeah, that's absolutely fair.
This isn't really a sea.
Yeah.
No, I see what you mean.
It's but yeah. So
I'm going to take essentially 2 short rests, I think.
okay.
So that I can get enough sorcery points back to get my spell slots back.
Okay.
And spend 2 hit dice.
I will also spend some hit dice. That is, those are, I believe, that's only 1. Okay. That is enough.
Also get some HP back.
Yeah. There you go. So you take a short rest as you kind of relax a little bit of time. Hikan.
Max
Yes.
is very focused on getting us out of here because he will not be trapped here.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
You feel a bit of a rustling in your pack, although I don't know whether or not if you've got like the bag of holding or have a bag of holding.
I do not have a bag of holding. I am
Okay.
the only person in the party without extra dimensional space.
Yeah, so you definitely feel a rustling in your pack.
I look through my pack.
Okay, as you look through your pack, you see that the skull of the Stalfos that you keep on hand seems a bit more animated than he was before. Like previously, when you had him, he just looked like a skull who would be able to barely move his jaw, covered in vines or anything. Now, this Stalfos skull, the gaps, the void in his eyes, there's a little pinprick of white smoke that kind of serve as pupils. And as he kind of you see them kind of move around as he looks around his environment, and he looks at you and says, "Where are we?"
We're in the plane of Lament. On a ship waiting to go back to Hyrule. Is everything okay?
Feel different.
You seem different.
What is this plane of lament?
I will give him the best summary that Hikan can give.
If I'm within earshot, I will help.
Okay. So you give him the cliff notes, and he kind of just he seems motionless as he listens to you explain this. And eventually, when you finish, he's like, "Oh, I see." Your passive insights are probably high enough at this point in order to recognize that Pahako is not he's kind of just weighing the possibility as to why he's here. And it also recalls to mind, I think, did Donatash tell you exactly what Nazgradar's disposition towards other undead are like?
No.
I don't believe so.
Okay.
But he didn't seem very... he did not hold mortals in high esteem.
So it's one of those things where, like, well, I suppose the question is, seeing that, like, noting this concern in Pahako, do you have a desire to interject, or do you not want to push it?
Oh, I'll push it. I'll ask. Is
Okay.
everything okay?
When I was raised, the individuals who raised me were alarmed that I was capable of thinking freely.
Mm-hmm.
I was not terribly... I was not well received that I had retained my free will, and they sought to destroy me. So that is what led me to fleeing into the Lost Woods in the first place.
Kind of like nudge Hikan. Remember when Skradar mentioned to the Arbiter that it was by his grace that the Arbiter was allowed to keep his mind?
Huh. Okay. Well, you want to go back in the bag where you might not be seen? They didn't sense you when we were literally, like, 30 feet away from them.
Or he didn't care?
He kind of just, like, he looks to you and says, "It might be best for now."
Okay. Well, we can talk when we get back if you're feeling up to it then. Then I put him in the back in the bag very carefully.
You just plonk him back in, and he just kind of remains quiet after that point. Whether it's just sake of, like, he goes to sleep, or if anything else happens, or if he's just remaining as still as possible to not cause any further disturbances, it's unsure. But after what seems like a very, very long time, one of you, who's looking more to, like, the south end of the ship and out of a window, can see a variety of lights moving towards you over the plains, and these all seem to be simple torchlights, which it can only mean one thing, which is that the people of Mazro are making their way there. You can also see, as they get closer, the sickly green of the Poe lights as well, just kind of flickering in their lanterns as they come along, with Eitri and his folks. As they arrive, Eitri raises a hand and says, "Hello, are you there?"
That we are.
Aye, good. This way.
I was going to say aye aye. It is Talk Like a Pirate Day anyway.
You know, I was actually about to say ahoy too, as opposed to hello.
Ahoy!
But yeah.
Not on top of the game today.
So they move the people around into the larger kind of into one of the larger openings in the ship, and it seems, mercifully enough, that there is about the same amount of people here that there were when you left Mazro to begin with. While Eitri and the other guards are kind of situating themselves there, the interesting thing is that none of the ghostly, like none of the people of Mazro who passed away during that particular event have joined the collective. It seems they may have just decided to stay in Masro for as long as they could. After all, they're not exactly going anywhere. But yeah, Eitri and his soldiers kind of take to the task of moving everybody inside the ship, and making sure that they're well secured, considering how much is left of the ship. Meanwhile, Donatash and Simeon kind of head up to see all of you, and Simeon says, "Ah, excellent, right. Whew, what a trip. So, are you all ready to go?"
I mean, we can try to get this working, but so far we haven't gotten there yet.
Well,
Been tinkering, mostly.
I see. Well, it is worth a shot. Let's see. What's everybody's intelligence modifier?
-2.
Zero.
-4.
0.
Okay. Zayden, you suddenly remember there's one thing that you were probably going to be doing before attempting to depart from the plane of Lament, which is to tell Mara you're on the way back.
I was going to say, I was going to tell Renji to tell Mara that we're on the way back.
I was thinking about it when we started talking about short rests. And then I forgot.
I guess we both nudge Renji to mention to Telmar.
Right, yes, of course. I take out the speaker stone, and I hail Mara, telling her of our find of the arcane battery and that we are going to attempt to start the ship.
Okay. I'm already in Sarkoza. I've kind of been here for the past couple of days.
Oh dear.
It's I hadn't heard in a while, so I thought I might as well make a journey there. But if you yeah, we'll keep an eye on you guys. I suppose for a ship, you're probably going to want to try and drop it in the dry dock?
That sounds like a good idea. Also, could you tell me what date it is?
I think if we land in the wet dock, we'll all drown.
That is also a possibility. We might not like that. Though
Okay.
I think everything is better than where we are right now, I will say.
Yeah. As for the date, she kind of checks it over and tells you that it has been 2 weeks since you left.
Ooh. Okay. We'll
Now,
do our best to get there soon.
Put something in the dock so we know which one it is. We can see through the thing.
Okay, I'll go speak to the harbor master.
Now, something that Hikan definitely wouldn't think of, but maybe one of the people with the higher intelligence modifiers might want to tell Mara to go also alert the mayor that we're bringing half of Masra with us.
Yes. We'll be bringing people. We will be attempting to bring spirits. Not certain how that'll go, but yeah, we still have some living mortals here that we are also going to attempt to bring back from Masro village.
Okay. Well, I'm expecting a couple of. I mean, I could. I'm not sure how long it'll take them to get here, but there's a couple of Hylian guards on their way here too. So I'll speak to the mayor, and then I'll head to the harbor master, and we'll get that one dealt with as best we can. But yeah, good luck. I think Uriel said he might be on his way, but it might take him a little longer than expected. Business is business, or so he tells me. But yeah, I'll let you get to it. I'll see you guys soon, I hope.
Thank you for keeping us updated. If there is anything that might complicate matters, please let us know. We are going to try and get this ship flying.
Okay. Yeah. Take care. And she hangs up the stone. Yeah. In order to make a way to get everything sorted for your arrival. Simeon,
I think I'll head to kind of glance over at Max. Do you want me at the battery or do you want me at the helm?
I think I'm best at the battery.
Sorry.
I said I think I'm best at the battery.
Okay. Then I'll try and
You
helm
go
this thing.
wherever.
As you set about dealing with things, there is a call from just outside. One of the soldiers says, "We got company!"
Of course.
And
We ran into an encounter.
Yeah. As you head over to what kind of area you might see, you can see just at the edge of your vision, 4 shadowy shapes, humanoid in appearance, but all wearing completely different sets of armor or anything. They're all clearly corpses, but they are slowly advancing on the ship. Donatash and Simeon just kind of peer outside, and the wizard just kind of shakes his head and says, "I shall do my best if I can help them. Simeon, try and help them get this off the ground." And Simeon's like, "Oh, of course, yes, absolutely, on it." And he rushes over to help Max. Yeah, I will move everybody over to the battle map.
The battle map. Lord Simone?
Is that Lord Simone?
I think it's Lord Simone.
Okay. It's been literal years since I've used the token. And I didn't realize it was
That's
misspelled.
absolutely fair.
There we go. Simone. Nope, it's still misspelled.
Simone.
E-O-N. There we go.
There we go.
Alright. Alright. Hopefully this isn't too loud. Okay. So, what you can see are these 4 individuals, at the very least, at the very edge of your area, yeah, despite the fact that they are currently bathed within the light of your weapon, they are unfazed by such light. I'm going to say for the sake of flavor, because otherwise this would be an incredibly large battle with too many components. Most of the soldiers that are existing, like to keep the ship protected, are still down below and are defiantly protecting the living members of the Mazro community. So the ones in play will be the ones here.
All right. Why do I have to roll a natural 20 on initiative?
I should have done some heals on me within short rest.
Yeah, well, you go ahead and do that. We'll say that you did that while you were...
I think this token still has my old dark vision of 120 feet.
No, this is 60.
I can see it.
Wait.
I can see pretty far as well.
30,
Wait.
60.
Yeah,
I can see up
went
to
a little
80
bit.
feet.
Yeah, it goes a little bit further, because when I was because I think when I was measuring from the square next to you. And I think it goes just a touch further, like half a square further for some reason.
Okay. Interesting.
Yeah, I don't know why.
It's light, not dark vision.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, and the light, yeah. Yeah.
But like, I have the auras now, but those, according to Roll20, don't give off light.
Okay. Yeah, that's all right. I've just got it set to your dark visions of 60 feet as far as I can see.
Absolutely
but,
fair.
Yeah. It's okay, because otherwise I'll have to go through all your tokens one at a time. And that's
that's fair.
let's see. So, let's roll some initiatives for these fellas. Okay. Where are you? There you are. Okay. Okay. So, first up in initiative order is Renji, followed by Zayden, followed by Hikan, followed by the Whites, followed by Max. Oh, and Donatash needs to have a roll on all initiative as well, because he is here. I'm going to say Simeon acts on Max's turn, because he's basically just constantly applying the help action. Okay. So, Renji, what would you like to do?
I will shout to Max and Lord Simeon, don't leave without me. And I will use a bonus action for Hexblade's Curse on this one.
Okay.
And then I will shoot my 3 bolts of Eldritch Blast at it.
Okay.
That's a 13,
That is...
a 15, and a 24.
Okay. The 13 misses. However, the 15 and the 24 hit.
Okay, so for the 15, that is 7 points of damage.
Okay.
For the 24, that is 11 points of damage.
Okay. As you kind of like send out these waves of eldritch energy towards this this white, you can see the ones that hit impacted. His shoulder rolls backwards with the force of the hit, briefly lighting up the area with kind of like a firework in the night sky, but it still remains standing, still resolute. Yeah.
All right, and then I will move up to here, holding out Aspiration.
As you move forward, just at the edges of your vision, you can see more shapes appear in the darkness.
Oh dear, yes.
There's quite a few. They kind of just fade in as you move into position. And they all stand in much a similar fashion.
You know what I said about not leaving without me? We'd better leave quickly!
Okay. Anything else you want to do on your turn?
It's half my movement, bonus action, and my full action, so I don't have much else to do. I do want to stay close to the ship so I can jump back in or up when I need to.
Okay. Zayden.
Poseidon, much like in the town, will call upon the holy power of the dawn. And let's see if I put it there. There. I need to make a very big cube. Something like that.
Okay. Alright, let's see. Light of dawn on the side. I'm just seeing how big the actual light aspect of it is.
Not really sure.
50-foot radius, 40-foot high cylinder.
I think it's just entirely contained within the cylinder.
Okay. That's fine. So if I put that...
It's just a big laser beam.
Dynamic lighting...
Ah, dang. If I put one square to the left, I would have got another one. Oh well.
There we go. I think that's big.
Yeah, that works. More or less.
Okay, so let's see.
1, 2,
Constitution
3, 4,
saving
5,
throw.
6, 7, 8.
8 of them need to make one. All right, that's fine. Okay, so that is. I'm just going to take off the one of the settings on here in order to have it not. There we go. So that is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8.
That is, I believe,
Failure,
three
failure,
successes.
Yeah.
3 successes. Okay, so number 4, 1, 2, 3, 4 succeeds. So that is 21 damage to that one.
Radiant damage, if that matters.
It
Let me have
seems to matter. If you said
don't-
number 4 takes 21.
Yeah.
I said number 4 succeeds, so that's 21 damage, and he's...
Yeah, let's see. So, and then you take 10. Number 5 fails. Number 6 passes. Number 7 fails. And number 8 passes.
Maths.
Yeah. I'm so glad that Roll20 lets you do the minus number thing. Otherwise, I'd just be... but yeah, so...
I'm also very glad that Foundry does that as well.
Yeah. So you call upon the divine light of the dawn, and within the darkness, a brilliant pillar of light manifests and envelops these poor wretches, singeing their rotting flesh, but otherwise leaving them like they still stand. Unfortunately, the one that Renji
Very
had
much
been.
so.
The one that Renji had shot beforehand looks to be on their last legs, but yeah, they are.
So just like another round or two of Dawn will be.
Yeah. Okay. And that'll be. Is there anything else you want to do on your turn?
Oh, shillelagh.
Okay.
Always be prepared.
Just in case. Hikan.
I'm gonna make an intelligence check real quick.
Sure.
14. Okay, I'm still doing. I'm still on fire with those in this realm. I think I would have noticed Renji taking navigator's lessons.
Mm-hmm.
And even though Max and Simeon are working on powering it, it'd be like, I think you'd be the best at the helm, and I can stand down there. To Renji.
I'll respond on my turn.
That's why I was waiting. And then what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna hop down here because I also have a buttload of movement. Use my bonus action to do the neat thing about removing the wraps with the moving tattoo, and I'm going to hold my action to if any of these come within striking range to beat the shit out of them.
Okay. Grand. Let's see.
And range is 15 feet from me. At this point.
Makes sense.
That is a lot.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. On Donatash's turn, he's going to quickly hop off the ship and move over here. He's going to take up his staff. He's going to slam it into the ground. and he's going to snarl out, "Skestara Safris!" and from him emanates a chilling cone of cold that emanates in this direction, enveloping essentially all these people. All right. Just need to check thing. Resistances. Okay. Just check and see whether or not they're resistant to cold, which they're not. Alright, so it's another round of Constitution saving throws to this chunk of bad guys over here. I'm counting 6. So let's do 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. All but one fails.
Poor things.
Okay, so of the ones that do not have enough hit points in order to sustain themselves, it's going to be this fella, this fella, this fella, and this fella. The first one manages to succeed and takes only 19 points of cold damage, and the other one fails and takes the full 38. Okay, sweet.
Very nice.
That will be Don Tash's turn. How far can
How far can they move?
Okay. Let's see. Before I go this way. Right. So one thing that you will notice on this turn is that as you guys stand forward, entering into the light of aspiration, into the bright light range, Zayden, you're probably the first one to notice this, considering your position. But you turn and you see this hulking form, as big as a Stalfos, but that has flesh and far more elongated arms, and it kind of just like fades into view as it enters the bright light zone, and it's right there.
Oh no.
Meanwhile, where Donatash is at this point in time, actually, it doesn't even need to go that far because it has quite a range. Where Donatash is at this point in time, you turn around and you see. What I'll do is I'll just run this one real quick.
That doesn't sound great.
Hikan and Renji, where you're peering forward into this, you see at the corner of your eye, Donatash, there is a flash of a elongated claw that like appears from shadow and swipes at him, dealing a grievous wound. Donatash takes 33 points of piercing damage.
No.
He's still up.
Okay.
Despite being a wizard, he has enough levels in wizard where taking a single hit doesn't help. But essentially, what happens then is that he's grabbed by that same claw and pulled through the darkness, and he is now grappled by another one of these large, towering, beastie monster things.
We can see it now, even if it's not in bright light.
Yeah, because it's drawn its attention. Basically, the two things were hiding, and they are capable of hiding rather well in darkness. It's just that one of them stepped into the bright lightness, and the other one made its presence known by being
By the attack.
aggressive. Yeah.
Okay.
But yeah, so that'll be their turns. The whites go. It's when this turn starts in the dawn, isn't it?
No, I believe it's at end of turn.
Okay. This
Whenever
one...
it ends its turn
Yes.
inside the cylinder, yes.
Yeah.
Okay. Alright, so we're going to start with the one at the very bottom here. It's going to run up to you, Renji. It's going to take a
That
swipe
is within attacking range.
Go for it.
25 for 13. Oh,
That hits.
sorry, I lied. That I believe needs another. Just double checking here. It's supposed to need another one when this is activated. Sorry about that. Give me just a second. Don't think I have it on the thing. Or if I do, it's not in its description. I think it's a D6, but I want to verify that. Yeah, it is an extra D6, so it is 2 force damage on top of that.
Okay.
And
Mm-hmm.
stunning strike. Might as well give it a shot.
Fails. It is stunned. So that is
Cool.
for the
Thank
50
you.
range. It is now stunned.
That is much
And-
appreciated.
If I'm holding an attack action, I get my other attack, correct?
Yeah, I'll say
Or-
so. There's a lot of
Okay, I
enemies
just
here.
wanna-
I'll be charitable.
Okay. So 26 for 14.
That
Yeah.
hits and defeats this creature. You kind of
But
like
Yeah, I believe if you hold your action and use an attack, you do go full attack action.
fair enough. Thank you.
You land 2 precise blows upon the creature, and it topples backward. Lifeless once more. This other one is going to run up to try and get to. I'm going to say it's going to run up to here. Going to try and get at you, Hikan.
Go ahead.
With its own longsword attack. A
Nope.
16 doesn't hit though. And the rest of these are going to effectively, they'll have to use their dash action in order to get to you. So that one there. And they're at least intelligent enough to know not to step into the sunbeam.
Oh, poop. But it's fun. Sorry, it's sun.
Oh no!
Mhm.
My roll 20 crashed.
Oh no!
It's a bit of a problem.
Oh no.
It crashed on the GM screen that I use, so I'll have to spend a little bit of time getting the character sheets back up. But for the other ones though, there they are. There we go. Is the music playing? I think
Yes.
it is. So I'll have to start it up again. That one, please. Thank you. All right. And that one needs to dash to get up to there as well.
Oh, by the way, all the whites have disadvantage on attack rolls near me.
Oh yeah, because of sunlight sensitivity.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's fine. That's okay.
If they're trying to avoid this, then
Yeah.
sorry, that is metagaming. I apologize.
No, that's fine. That's all right. It doesn't come up often, and it would make sense. So, while I'm doing that, Max.
Gonna get to the battery.
Yeah. So, I will provide you with the info and exactly what it is that you need to do here. Every time you pump in a spell slot, as mentioned before, you get 2% on the battery per level of the spell, of the slot that you are feeding into it. alternatively, as an action, you can try and kick the thing into gear in order for it to make the jump necessary to get back to Hyrule. At which point it will need to take a turn a round in order to make that jump, which will give everybody else the time to move and get into position and stuff. Okay. But when you take that specific action, it's a percentile chance where you have to roll under the current battery charge that is in that battery. So at the moment, it's currently sitting at 0, but you can spend turns to kind of feed stuff into it. And I will say, because you are a sorcerer, if you want to use a quicken spell meta magic, you can feed 2 spell slots into it at the same time.
Ooh.
How many? 2 sorcery points.
Yeah.
Well, in my first turn then, I'll put a 6th and 1st level spell slot in there and spend 2 points.
Okay, you are currently sitting at 14%.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So that's taken
And
up
as a next one.
Yeah, I was gonna say because that's taken up your main action and bonus action by spending quicken spell. It's yeah. Yeah, you're currently sitting at 14%, and then next turn, if you wanted to add more stuff, that'll be another action / bonus action if you spend sorcery points, etc., etc.
Yep.
Yeah. Okay. Right. So I just need 2 very specific undead before I do anything else, and then right. Renji, it is your go. You are surrounded by wights.
I am aware, yes. So Hikan has mentioned that I should get to the helm. Mm-hmm. With our tinkering, Max and our and mine tinkering, would I be aware that I would need to be at the helm, or would I know that the jump could be from...
Did we set it to point at the dry dock?
I think you've already set it to point at Hyrule.
Okay.
You
just need a bit of fine-tuning.
It might provide a bit of an additional, let's say, super advantage if you were to then use your turn, use an action on a turn in order to provide the help action to Max. I'll say it gives more than just advantage in that case to make sure it lands safely. It's just you are pointed. You will land in Hyrule. What I'll say is you'll land in Hyrule, but whether you land exactly on the dry dock will require a roll.
Okay. Then
you've got time. I've got more spell slots.
I will disengage as my bonus action.
Okay.
And I will head to the helm, which I don't know, is that over here, or...
It's,
inside.
Yeah, you can just say it's in the ship and stuff.
Okay. So I will shout a quick good luck to Hikan and Zayden, and head into the ship.
Okay. All right.
And that will give me my leave to use my action for helm-related matters.
Okay. Because it also
you won't need it this turn, so
yeah,
you could use your action to shoot the things on your way in.
Yep, then I'm going to attack this one, and I'm going to attack this one with Aspiration. Okay. Let's see, do I have... Okay, I don't have super advantage with this, so it's just normal.
Mm-hmm.
That's 25 to hit
that
for
hits.
This this one.
Okay.
And let's see, that is a total of 26 points of damage because I am using sneak attack.
Okay.
And then for the latter one, that's a 20 to hit.
That hits.
Okay, so that is a total of 15 points of damage.
Okay.
And they wouldn't be able to attack me anyway if I hadn't disengaged. So, moving there.
Okay. Alrighty then. Yeah, you swing the sunblade. It sears through them rather easily. They hiss in pain. But they are unable to pursue you as you enter inside, maneuvering past Eitri and his phalanx of soldiers as they kind of form rank and make a wall as best they can. Zayden.
Zayden will move here.
Okay.
Going around like that.
Uh-huh.
And he will let the dawn fade. And instead, summon a laser beam.
Ooh.
Hey.
Down towards even the big one.
Nice. Okay. Sweet. So we'll start with the whites
And you can
first.
keep doing that.
I'm expecting to lose concentration once they start hitting me.
Yeah. So let's see. We'll start with the whites first. So I have doubts actually. Let's see. Half damage would be
18 if it's rounded up, 17 if it's rounded down.
18. Okay, so there's a
Disadvantage on the
possibility
saving
they
throw.
might save. So they do have disadvantage on the saving throw, don't they?
It's even harder for them.
Yeah. Okay. So fail. Oh, fail, pass. Fail. Fail. So we'll say that the one at the end somehow manages to stick around. So that is.
And what
Three of
about our
them.
big buddy?
Yeah,
he's in
I'll
line.
get there. It's
Oh,
just
okay.
making sure to get
That's-
the smaller ones.
Yeah, that's fair. I apologize.
Yes, okay. So those three whites just disintegrate into dust as the beam continues on its way. The bone claw at the back makes its Constitution save, getting a 12. I need to set that to no longer be GM only, and that is minus 35. Nice.
It's blind.
It is blind. Interesting. Okay. It just collides with the larger form of this bone claw, and it's you can see like this big searing chunk out of its body now, but it still stands and still holds on to Donatash. But yeah, that'll be. Is that everything on your Taurian?
I'll use the rest of my movement to get onto this side away from the other big one.
Okay. All right. Hikan.
Okay, I'm gonna make a 10-foot step over this way, so that way that guy doesn't get an attack of opportunity. I'm gonna pull out my trusty Javelin of Lightning,
Woohoo.
and then if I hit him here, that goes through the three whites over here's square, or the two whites over here's
Lovely.
squares,
Okay.
and hits the bone claw. So I will just. Here we go! 27 for a fuck ton of damage.
That is a lot of damage. The javelin does hit its mark with the 27, thank God.
Excellent.
Let's see. So, we'll start with the basic damage first so that it hits its target. So that would be 27 points of total damage. Well, 27 points of damage to it from the javelin itself, and then it needs to do a dexterity saving throw. We'll start with the whites because they're there. I don't think that the one directly next to you will survive if pass or fail, so that just immediately crumples beneath the might of your javelin of lightning. And then the one next to Zayden, which hasn't really been touched yet, will make its dexterity saving throw. Passes, taking 10 points of lightning damage, and then the bone claw needs to make its own dexterity saving throw, getting a 15, which is a pass, so it takes a further 10 lightning damage, which is still a lot. Like 37 points of damage is still Still a lot.
Not bad.
Yeah.
And
Okay.
that's 1 attack and 10 feet of movement.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm gonna go next to the big buddy here, which is probably a silly idea, but that's okay.
That's alright.
And then I have an unarmed strike. That's only a 14. I don't think that's gonna hit.
Okay.
On the bone
14 does not hit, sadly.
Okay.
As you stand in the towering frame of this creature, you slam into it. There's kind of this rubbery, sturdy quality to its flesh, but it is so it manages to weather the glancing blow at the very least.
It's fair. The goal here is not to kill everything. The goal here is to survive. I assume I see other undead on their way.
Yeah, you can see vague
Okay.
shapes turning up.
Then I will use my bonus action to do patient defense and take the dodge action.
Got it. Okay. Right. Then it's Donatash's go. I need to get his character sheet up again.
Well, hope he has Misty Step.
Okay. He does. And that's exactly what he's going to do. He's going to use his bonus action to cast Misty Step in order to bamf out of the grasp of the Bone Claw. He's going to actually situate himself just here. And he's going to use his second and last 5th level spell slot to cast another Cone of Cold in that direction. Jesus
Good done,
Christ.
Atash.
You can, yeah. He was the venturer of his prime back in the day. He was alive, and yet he's, yeah. Wow, Jesus Christ, man. So Constitution saves all round. So we'll do with the whites first. Fail, pass. But I don't think. I don't think 28 or 27, what would it be? No, it wouldn't be.
It would be
22 or 23.
23.
23. Okay, so one of the whites manages to hold on, but the other one is completely frozen and topples to the ground and shatters. The Bone Claw fails. Interesting. Taking a grievous amount of damage from the spell casting itself. And I think what Donatash will do on his movement is he's going to clamber back up on top of the top deck of the ship in order to have something of a higher ground. Then it's the Bone Claws goes.
Fuck me up, fam.
Okay, so we'll start with the one that Hikan is currently facing. It gets 1 attack, but they hit like trucks, unfortunately. So he's going to bring his big claw overhead to try and strike at you. Getting a 20 to hit for 25.
Getting an 11 to hit for 25, and that's a no.
Thank you for reminding me that you took the dodge. Yes, I'm sorry.
No worries.
Yeah, so you manage to expertly maneuver around the big striking claw as it embeds the long, elongated, sharp fingers into the ground. The other one is going to try and chase after its prey. It's going to get here. I'm going to bring it to the front so it's on top of things. It's going to try and grasp after Donatash again.
What? How could it chase him so well? It's blind.
Well, they rolled a 9 to hit.
Yeah, he rolled a 9 to hit. Ultimately swings overhead, like scrapes off a couple of the boards of the top deck, and
Just fix this.
just screams and snarls in the general direction of where it thinks Donatash is. But that'll be its go. Then it's the white's turns. This one's going to... It's going to dash action to get over to here. And the other one is going to try and swipe at Zayden. But I think it's still suffering disadvantage from another effect. So if it loads, hold on. I don't know if I've already hit it twice. Oh. 10 to hit.
10 does not hit.
Yeah, that's fine.
7 does not hit.
7 doesn't hit either, even though it only gets to 1 attack, but it's fine. It swings overhead, and you manage to keep out of the way. That'll be, there goes. I just need to do a couple of rolls in the background here. Nope. 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 Okay. Let's say it's this one. Zayden, just behind the white to the north, you can see the once formerly like frozen white manages to break free from its icy death and begins to move. It's still prone, but it is active again, and it will probably stand up on its next turn. Let's see. No. 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 Okay. All the other ones that are dead stay dead. Max.
So when I'm putting spells in this, does it follow the spell casting rules? Or can I do 2 5th levels?
You can do 2 5th levels if you want to.
Okay, I'll do that then.
Okay, so that's another 20% in there. So that's a total of 34% now. Let's see. Excellent.
So, point of order on that. If we decide to shotgun it, since Simeon's providing the help action / Renji super advantage, does that roll 3 percentile die?
Yes.
Okay.
Okay. So, Renji.
I will, for the purposes of rule lawyering, say that super advantage only works on a dex or
I'm gonna say I don't care.
or charisma based attack roll.
It's fine.
I'm
With
going
it,
to do a charisma-based attack roll on this.
it's
Actually, it also includes intelligence.
yeah.
Oh, intelligence as well. Yes, that's correct. That is absolutely, and I think wisdom if you
Regardless.
So
you can use your action in order to press the engage button in order to have you go where you need to go.
can I from here use a spell slot to buff up the?
It would require your action though.
It would require my action. Okay.
Yeah. So you would. So basically, you'd either have to roll around to somebody else's turn to push the button.
Okay.
Max is just down there, there's lightning crackling into the orb.
Okay, then I think I'm going to do it. Okay.
Okay. So, roll for me 3 1d100s.
3 1d100s. Keep the highest, correct?
Keep the lowest.
Keep the lowest.
Yeah, you have a 34% chance of kicking this.
Right. Yes. Okay, here goes.
Okay.
3.
Wait. No, this is.
Yeah, there's no actual dice there.
That's not an actual die roll.
Okay. So if you just roll 3, if you just roll 1d100, just do that 3 times, then we'll see what happens.
Yeah.
I think it's because you didn't have a 3 at the
We got one.
You got
19.
an 18. Okay, that's good. You go through the mechanisms of trying to get it to work. Simeon's there kind of pointing you in different directions to say, that one, try that one there, and pull this thing, and it's just kind of like helping you maneuver things around. And eventually the energy that Max is feeding into the battery just begins to emanate throughout the entire room that you're in, and the entire vessel begins to shudder and shake and feels like the aspects of like nature, like gravity and everything around you is beginning to change. You will like next time it gets around to your turn, this vessel's going.
Okay.
I would also like you to make, and we'll actually do the navigation roll next turn.
Okay.
To a navigation or arcana check next turn to make sure that you get into the dry dock. But for now, that will be your action. Everything is happening around you. From the outside, Zayden and Hikan, you can see that there was a brilliant flash from the captain's quarters of this ship, and it begins to kind of shake violently and vibrate itself into the air. But yeah.
When you say into the air, it's like a few inches off, or
It's like it's going about half an inch per second upwards.
So not far.
Not far.
1 round is 6 seconds.
Yeah, it's definitely levitating, but it's not like flinging itself as far into the air as possible.
okay. Well, Zayden will use his dawn in that direction.
Sunbeam.
Sunbeam. Sunbeam.
Okay.
For these two.
Wait. Let's see. So first off, the white fails, taking the full 24 points of damage. Still up, but blind. Just falling to pieces under the assault of divine light, and the bone claw in turn passes, taking 12.
Excellent. Gets a 7.
Oh,
No.
that's, yeah. Oh yeah,
He's
undead.
undead.
Yeah, it is
yes.
undead. So yeah, so he takes the full 24 and is also blinded.
Okay. Then I will move this way. 1 attack opportunity from that then.
Okay. Swish, miss.
And I'll get on the ship.
Okay. We're now on the ship. Hikan.
Okay. They're blind?
Yep.
Cool. I got this. I might as well use it. So I'm just gonna.
You
attack
also
this
need to
guy
get
for a
back on
little
this ship.
bit. I've got a bunch of movement. I'll be fine.
That's true. That's true.
23 for 11.
Yep,
Bone
that
Claw.
hits. Yep,
17
that hits.
for 12. Flurry of blows. 22 for 14.
22 hits, and it takes 14.
And if it's still up, which it seems to be, 23 for 17.
23 for 17. That hits. It is still standing, barely.
Oof.
You've managed to take
That's
big chunks out of this thing.
Then yeah, it can try to hit me if it would like to, as I run up to stand here and be a human shield.
You see, I know that the statistical factors of this not happening is a thing, because it's got disadvantage and you've got a really high AC.
It has +8 to its attacks, because I saw it on the rolling thing, and my AC is 22.
Yeah.
So
it needs to roll a 14 or higher. However,
Disadvantage.
at disadvantage. But it's worth noting, it's one of those things where I wish I had a box of doom, because if this hits, it grapples you.
you can enable the 3D dice roll in dice options.
Let's have a look.
I find that those tend to not work very well.
Let's see if I have that set up so you can enable animated graphics. That is correct. Dice option, enable 3D dice, but not automatically roll 3D dice. We'll see.
Alright. We'll see. Hopefully it'll turn up on the stream, but if not, yeah, I was gonna say, if it grapples you, there's a decent chance you get stuck here. I want you to be aware of that. Right, so it tries to make its reaction attack against you.
Mm-hmm.
A 14, it misses.
Even at advantage, that would have failed.
Yeah, yeah, I know, but it's one of those things where I wanted to make sure the stakes were on the table, because chances there would be is an equal chance that it would go against our favor, and that sucks for everybody involved.
Oh yeah.
So it's
I've got a Goron over in. No, I'm kidding.
Don't do that.
Say goodbye to Hikan. No, not on the 100th episode.
Yeah. Be hell of an episode. But anywho.
But yeah, so it tries to swipe at you, it misses, and you manage to sneak back onto the ship easily enough. Donatash, on his go, what can he do?
Can we stun that one in any way?
Do some badass cantrip.
Does he have Wall of Force?
He doesn't.
No. What use is he then?
He's expended all of his 5th level spells. Let's see. What he is going to do, he's going to cast. He's going to take from his pocket like bits of gravel, and he's going to kind of like sprinkle them into the air where they stay, and they form little, like 6 little small rocks, and as he's chanting to himself, he manifests these miniature meteors that kind of hover around him, and briefly he turns back to anyone else who's on top deck or with you and says, make sure that they get back home safe. Defeat this thing. And he's going to Hail Mary jump 30 feet, or he's going to jump off and run as far as he can over here, in the meantime spending his bonus action to launch these meteors at the 2 bone claws. Dexterity saves. Pass and pass. But they still kind of hit. Let's see. Once the meteor reaches destination, it impacts against solid surface, meteor explode. Each creature within 5 feet of it. Ooh, hello. So I need to do one for the whites as well, or 1 white at least.
1, yep.
It passes, takes half damage,
No.
but it had 3 hit points anyway, so it explodes. But yeah, so he launches these meteors in this direction. They explode, getting their attention, and he's going to just keep shouting at the top of his lungs to get them to follow him, which works. They kind of... That one moves down there. That moves over here. As they begin to follow Donatash as he begins to run into the darkness away from the ship. And the whites will also run after him as well. Max.
Max isn't really paying attention to what's going on right now, so he's going to put 2 4th level spell slots in the orb.
Okay.
Just hyper focused right now.
Yeah. So that brings it up to, there was 37, 47, 53%, but then again, it's in motion anyway, so it's always good to have extra.
Don't want to run any out when we're halfway there.
Yeah. Alright, and then it comes up to Renji. Things are happening. It's about to take off. Give me a navigation roll with advantage.
20.
20. Awesome. So you begin to, like, as things... I'm going to stop the music here briefly. So, as you within the last few minutes, you see Donatash just kind of you see like Donatash running away from this now much smaller horde of undead, as the ship begins to take off. And then as you turn your attention back to the mechanisms within the room, the environment outside of the ship vanishes, and is replaced by this star field, which then begins rushing past you at an incredible speed, and the entire vessel you're in begins to shake. You take hold of the controls and deftly, and rather well, considering the fact that this device is still very alien to you, manage to maneuver the ship in its own way on its journey through the plains, through the astral sea, on its way back to Hyrule, you hope. We're gonna pull the camera back a moment, and we find ourselves back in Sarkoza. It is early to mid-morning. There is not a cloud in the sky. It is a warm day, and the people of Sarkoza, for the most part, have zero idea what is transpiring. We cut over to see Mara next to the dry dock that she's designated. Much to the chagrin of the harbour master, they've basically taken pots of paint, like red paint, and they've just dumped it wherever they could, Splatoon style, all over the place. Like, land here right now. And she's like pacing back and forth. She holds her book tightly to her chest as she waits, and she has been like this for the past hour or so. Next to her, leaning on nearby wall, is Uriel, also arms folded, who is just kind of watching her go back and forth, just like, worrying is not gonna bring him back any faster. You know that, right? And she says, this has been a trying amount of time, and I just want them to be okay. They'll be fine. If anything, from what I've been told, they're sort of resilient in that factor. They've kind of been responsible for a lot of big changes in this kingdom, don't you think? Yeah. I think so. But can't help but worry that something's going to be the last time, right? Well, if anything does happen, it's not the end. There's no doubt going to be a way that we can find our way there ourselves if we need to, but you just have to hold on hope. Nearby the entrance and dotted around the other bits and pieces on the dry dock are a couple of guards, like Hylian royal guards, who are just kind of standing and waiting awkwardly. Like they are confused more than anything. They haven't really had much of an opportunity to consider what's been going on. They've literally been told, join Mara in Sarkoza. Then when they got there, they were told by Mara and Uriel to take up a paint bucket and stain the dry dock.
Oh dear. Are these the guards with like the 90-degree field of vision?
Kinda. They're just in the royal blues and stuff. If
you squint, you can see the vision cone.
Yeah. It's quite a spectacle. There are people who are still kind of like looking at them in this open dry dock, just like, what? Why are you there? Like, what is the purpose of this?
Why have you commandeered the dry dock?
Why have you commandeered the dry dock? This is a free port. What's going on? Is this war? What's happening? But the Yeah, and they kind of wait for a bit of time. Uriel eventually just kind of... Well, I hope you don't mind, little miss, but I think I'm going to go ahead and get myself some breakfast. I've been up for gods know how long. If they do turn up while I'm going to get some food, just be sure that... Just make sure that they've got all their bones and everything. It's been a while since I've messed with any kind of spelljammer nonsense. And he just kind of wanders off, and Mara stops her pacing and looks to the empty dry dock and heaves a bit of a sigh. It's been a couple of days since she arrived in Sarkoza, and she just continues to worry over the safety of her friends. But after at least a brief amount of time, she begins to see something. There's this kind of tiny little sparks that begin to manifest just over the dry dock. Little tss, 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 almost imperceptible. But the more she stares, the more she sees that these sparks are getting larger and more frequent. After a while, not knowing exactly what to expect, she alerts the guards around the dry dock to get back. And so they do. And now they're aware of the sparks themselves, and some of them even raise their weapons to be prepared for whatever might come through. Only eventually, in a cataclysmic shower of magical energy, there appears to be the back half of an elegantly designed galleon, and it hovers there for about half a second before it drops amidst a cry of crowds and screams, and the bottom of the hull splinters slightly, and it teeters to one side as it finds unfamiliar ground. All of you on the ship kind of just you're all immediately knocked prone, regardless of how skilled you are or how capable you might be. It's just the sudden jolt through various different dimensions has knocked you on your ass. You are sore all over. The jet lag almost sets in immediately, but as you get your bearings and look around you, you can see through the open windows and the gaps sunlight. You can see the sun, and you can feel the warm sea breeze on your skin. You can hear the chatter of concerned people outside, and the even more concerned chatterings of the people of Masro below you. But wherever you might be at this point in time, it certainly isn't the plane of Lament. It certainly feels more pleasant here than anything else.
Phew.
Once I'm at the rear of the galleon, I look out and I just go, "Oi! Where are we?"
You kind of as you call that out, you see Mara kind of just get up and dust herself off and say, "Oh, thank gods. Help them off the ship! Help them off the ship right now!" And the guards, confused, but they've been given an order. They need to do what needs to be done. Begin looking
town
around.
Crier in Sarkosa is going, what on earth is going on in the dry dock of Sarkosa?
I imagine on the way, Max just spent all of his spell slots on the battery and is just conked out.
Yeah.
That might have taken a bit of a toll there, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. But
all of his spell slots and sorcery points just gone, just completely out.
Yeah, you the royal guards begin immediately trying to find gangplanks and ropes and ladders and whatnot, only to be then overtaken by dock workers, and Gregorio, the harbour master, just kind of stands there silently, brimming with confusion and frustration, mostly because he had no idea what he was expecting in this particular instance, but there's now half a ship in one of his dry docks that isn't going to be going anywhere, at least for a long time. Yeah, you one of the things that you notice quite quickly after things kind of die down and you are helped off the ship, Eitri and the soldiers and Simeon are not there. They, at least they're not in any visible range, and you don't hear them say anything in their own way. But the rest,
I blink for a moment, and then activating Eldritch Sight.
Okay,
Do I notice anything?
give me a perception check.
Perception check. There we go. That's a 29.
Okay, with the 29, you peer around the ship. You can see kind of like a heat map, this faint silhouette of where Simeon was standing. And as you focus on it, you can see it move slightly.
Kind of
It's
wave
hard-
at it.
Hmm?
I wave at it.
You wave at it. It slowly waves back, but that's the most interaction it's capable of doing with you. Give me an Arcana check, actually.
Sure. 17.
You theorize that Simeon might, like, the forcibly pulling him to the material plane from the plane of Lament in the physical state that he was in, especially since that his spirit was trapped there by some other foul magics. It might be that it's having some physical trouble kind of reconciling itself with its new place and where it once was. You don't know whether or not this means that he's free of the plane and therefore can be resurrected, but it's...
I was gonna ask.
I think his body's gone a bit off by now.
Yeah.
Yes, but
You would need a resurrection spell.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it would need to be something pretty big for him to come
We're
back
a
by this
bit
point.
we're a bit past Revivify hours.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Reincarnate?
I was gonna suggest it.
You've always wanted to be a Goron, right?
You don't choose.
That's
You
10
don't
days. Never mind.
10 days. Yeah, it's been more than 10 days. It would have to be resurrection.
It would have to be resurrection, okay.
Yeah. Or true resurrection if you don't get around to it that later. But yeah. Yeah, and it seems that as you kind of like considering that, you maybe make your way down to the lower levels and you see that Eitri and all of his soldiers are kept in the same situation. The only one that isn't here is Donatash, who had hopped off the Spelljammer before you departed. Eventually, the dock workers and the Royal Guards managed to find a way to safely apply a gangplank and some other methods to get people off of the ship. The civilians of Masro are pulled off and are guided to an open spot in the harbor, just to kind of just sit and wait for a while, let their interdimensional jet lag cool off, and keep them safe, and also keep an eye on them as part of the Royal Guard's duty to be there. But eventually, you are in turn helped off the ship.
Max is going to bring the battery.
Okay.
Yeah, we might not want.
We don't want anyone accidentally activating this thing.
Yep.
Yeah. You recover the battery.
We want to keep the ship for ourselves.
Yeah.
I don't want them getting lost.
Also that.
That's
Also
true.
that.
Or
That's-
ending up in the
that's
plains of Lament.
a completely altruistic. That's completely altruistic. Absolutely.
But also, Max also wants to keep the battery.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Put a lot of himself in there.
Mhm. You take the battery and you stagger off. And
Yeah, Max is not walking straight.
Yeah, as you tumble, as you kind of like stumble off the ship, and get to an open spot, Mara just runs up to hug each of you in turn. She'll hesitate at Max because she knows Max doesn't like hugs, but
Max does not react. Well, he passed her on the shoulder.
Yeah.
Wow, that's much improvement.
Weren't you there a couple of episodes ago where he hugged her?
That is, yeah. True.
But yeah, she kind of hugs you, and like just kind of embraces you and says, oh, "Thank goodness."
Good to be back.
Uriel's here. He went to get some breakfast. You guys must be really hungry. Let's find a place for you to sit down, okay?
I'd like to sit down.
I wonder, have we not eaten for 2 weeks?
I don't want to think about it.
Oh, fudge.
Kind of like
We have someone that can make good berries.
yeah.
That is true.
I'm just gonna start walking towards out of this room.
She guides you to because she was here with you when you were here last here in Sarkoza. She takes you to the inn, the good inn with Thicket, and just
Is that where Uriel is?
Yeah, that's where Uriel is. You get there and you see its business hasn't exactly improved for Thicket, but it's you see Uriel just sitting at one of the larger tables, almost as if he was anticipating having to share a table with people. And he kind of looks over and like waves as he waves one hand which has a fork in it, and he's just eating this nice big meal. Like, well, welcome back to the material plane. Please take a seat. Let's
Shut up and share.
Yeah, well. I was gonna say I was gonna get you orders, but fine. And he kind of like, like passes plates around. He does call over Thicket to take everybody's orders and everything, but you have
Max's order is just food.
But yeah, you there is a bit of a crowd that's gathered outside as they see this group of people who just left the harbor where there was this massive flash and crash sound, and where the royal guards were, but they don't like try and go up to you and ask anything. They just kind of like keep their distance, but they watch you as you arrive. Yeah, you kind of situate yourselves down and begin eating. Uriel just kind of after he's finished and like dabs his lips with a handkerchief and leans his elbows on the table, looks over each and every one of you, just like, so y'all have been a dimension happen. How fun.
Not the first thing I would say to describe that.
Well, you know, a lot of things have happened, which I'm sure Mara here will be able to inform you of exactly what has gone on in the past couple of weeks since you departed. But for the meantime, I'd probably recommend getting a fair amount of rest. Nothing's going on that's so supremely important that you need to depart already, but you're going to need to recover and reset your clocks to material plane time, as it were. As for your newest acquisition that's currently sitting in the dry dock, well, we could possibly fix her up, but that's a story for another time. I can see that you've got the battery with you. As long as you keep a hold of that, no one's going to be taking it from you anytime soon. But you're probably going to be wanting to spend a little bit of time talking to the harbor master if you're going to be leaving it in one of his dry docks for a while. It's going to take a while to fix it up too. Mostly because I'm probably the only person on the planet who has any knowledge of that sort of thing. So we'll sort that out another time.
Also, literally half a ship.
How do you know so much about it?
Well, you don't really get to my level of wealth without dimension hopping yourself. You hear a couple of things in these different places at a time. I don't really have much other aspirations beyond selling magical goods to various individuals. I got a few doors that are just in different spots around this here multiverse, as it were. Yeah. I'm willing to teach, if that's what it takes, but there are probably better teachers out there. I could at least do my part to help fix up your ship there, so if you do want to make a habit of going across worlds like that, then by all means, I can at least get you part of the way, and then you can find a proper spelljammer, crafter, shipwright, navigator sort of thing. You'll be able to go about it with a certain aplomb, I guess.
May I ask?
Yeah.
Do you have a rod attuned to our plane?
I suppose I do.
I put the
It's for
javelin of
sale?
lightning on the.
Not
Yeah.
certain if that counts.
Well, I mean, it might. A lot of plane shifting stuff usually takes a lot of it just takes an item that is familiar with this specific location. Spelljammers kind of get around that, but of course they're expensive to run, quite powerful, and also quite fragile in their own way. So spellcasters like myself tend to use plane shift in order to transport around on our own power. But we have to have objects like that javelin there, which was made here, in order to kind of get back and forth. Of course, having things purposefully made for plane shifting like that is a bit more reliable than having just an object that originated from it.
What would be the best thing for it? The immovable rod.
I put the immovable rod on the table.
I mean, we did use that in the Plane of Lament, so it might have gotten some, I don't know, what's the word for it? Corruption on it?
It'd take
I don't think
millennia.
that's how it works.
It would take millennia for that sort of thing to seep into it like that. But I mean, we could do. My question is, why are you wanting an item that is attuned here? You plan on going somewhere?
This will end up somewhere
Glance
else
over at
again.
the others. Glance around. How many people are in Thicket's shop right now?
It is you and a couple of other bog standard patrons, like a couple of sailors, maybe just a merchant or something, just kind of occupying their own tables. They've given you a wide enough berth.
Mm-hmm. I will lean in and whisper to Uriel. We need Imperium.
He raises a brow and says, Imperium.
Am I saying it wrong?
No, you're saying it perfectly correctly. I'm just confused.
Okay.
I'm just curious as to why you need Imperium specifically.
Because the bad guy has his sword made of the opposite one,
Oh, okay.
and
kind of like-
it might be what's keeping him alive.
I see.
That kind of creature, I'm sure you've heard about.
Well, I ain't really heard much, other than what I've gleaned from interacting with you folks and what I've been told in order to request my help in this particular matter. The opposite of Imperium, what you're looking for, is called Abyssite.
Honestly, should have known.
He shrugs and says, well, it was either that or I think some other people call it Infernium. It's but that comes into a whole other cosmological argument that I'm not bothering to start right
what
now.
they're called. Where do we get them?
Right. Well, Imperium comes from the upper planes. It has to actively be mined there. It's an ore rather than an alloy. And Abyssite comes from the lower planes. Same story. It's quite rare to get a hold of it. My suggestion at this point would be this. If the person that you're trying to stop, are they any kind of particularly potent spellcaster, do you know?
Yep.
I see. Well, there's a whole story about this that I'm going to kind of suggest. Judging by the context clues that you've given me so far, you're looking for some Imperium in order to destroy an Abyssite item or artifact.
Mm-hmm.
It's not going to be as easy as you might think it might be. It's not like they touch each other and then they both explode. If I was to take two swords made of steel, eventually they will break when you bash them against each other, but it's not an instant thing. That's the same story with Imperium and Abyssite. It's just that any other, I suppose, lesser metal is going to be incapable of breaking Imperium and Abyssite in their natural states. And that's not even taking into account any further enchantment that they might have applied to the item itself. Yeah.
Further enchantment related to the item itself, it like reflexively just touches where the Quake medallion is.
Can you enchant a sword to make it break whatever it hits?
You can, but it's a little more complicated than that. So my suggestion at this point would be this. If you're looking for Imperium, I might see if I have some in my store, and if not, I can see if I can speak to some of my contacts in order to acquire it. However, if you're wanting to get some of it yourself, then it's going to take a while to either fix your spell jammer there, or if you have other means of traversing the planes, then that would require you to go to the upper planes themselves. And just as a heads up, the mines that exist within places like Mount Celestia or the Sacred Realm or any other areas of the upper planes where gods typically dwell, they're heavily guarded for a reason. There's only really one weapon known to be made of Imperium, and that'd be their Master Sword that's kind of hidden somewhere in this kingdom. I don't know where. It's I imagine it's probably some kind of royal secret or something.
Didn't we pretty much rule that out?
Yeah.
I mean, we could try and ask, but I don't think it'll be... I don't think it'll be granted.
Have you been to the upper planes, Uriel?
No.
Okay, never mind then.
There's only a few entities up there that, or there's only a few deities and their underlings that take to my kind of business practice, and the rest of them just don't have a need for anything I'm selling. So I don't really make a habit of contacting beings outside the material planes. It's just trying to discern the needs and wants of a potential customer base of anything that doesn't need to eat or sleep or just generally doesn't need anything like a magical item is more costly than it's worth. So I stick to the material plane and I try and keep my business fair there.
I wonder if that angel guy got home yet.
We
That's
should
what I was
probably
gonna
go
ask.
visit Sora's domain. Check.
Any case, I think it's probably best if you all get some rest. I'll send along some letters and messages to let people know that you're back. I imagine there's a few things on our little docket that is going to be. It's going to take some time, so we'll decide what we want to do later. For now, just take a day or two to relax, and we'll get to it as soon as we can. Okay?
Don't think we've had a bit of time off since we started.
Not for too long, I guess.
Mm.
And yeah, as you sit down and enjoy the rest of your meals, and just consider what you might do with your time off, that is where we will end the session for today. Thank you everyone so much for watching and listening for all 100 episodes that it has been. This has been Articulate. Thank you very much again. With me, as always, in this Legend of Zelda D&D campaign, I have had Renji Vox being played by the Netherlad.
Next time, will we repair our ship? Will Renji get a suntan? We will see next time on Hyrule Chronicles.
I have had Hikan Sio being played by Avrdal.
That is not going to be the last ballsy decision I make. I'll let you know that right now.
I've had Sidon Sharo being played by Robot Pirate.
Always so much trouble.
And I've had Max being played by Keestrith.
Max isn't getting a suntan. This boy doesn't tan. Come on.
Yeah. And we'll see you guys on the next episode. Take care, everybody. Bye-bye now.
Bye.